I haven't mastered the art of the long video yet, so they'll be in 10-minute installments. It might take me close to all day to upload it, but at the same time, I'm going to give you a little bit longer video. So call somebody, ask questions, read and research things that are being said and talked about. Don't go off of the neighbor, or don't go off of the person that's overbuying isopropyl alcohol and all the peroxide off the shelves just to make some home concoction. Don't listen to those people standing in line at the grocery store, basically. Follow what's going on and what's being talked about in Washington and your local states, and gather your information from there. It's easier to panic and to freak out the minute that you see something that you don't understand, as opposed to what it would do if you just took 10 minutes and got a straight answer. You might not get one, but it's better to not get one than to go off of somebody else's, well, this is what's really going to happen. Because half the time that shit is so far out into the field, you'll never even realize what it is. There's only a few things that have happened in the past couple of days that have kind of put my mind in a little bit of a tizzy or worry. I'll say it, worry. They activated the National Guard 3 days ago to start helping out on Monday with food pantries. Only problem that I see with that, and that I know is an issue with that, is whenever there's a national crisis, the Red Cross usually steps in and helps out. The National Guard does play a role in that, but in my opinion, and this is my opinion, wouldn't it be easier to implement those guys, to activate those guys immediately instead of waiting for Monday, which will be the 23rd? And the reason I stress that is because he said to us yesterday, DeWine did in his press conference, that the actions that we took yesterday and the actions that we take today will dictate how many people in Ohio die. So the general thought process on Facebook, of all places, is that there'll probably be a shelter in order place given today at 2. When that happens, and if that happens, that is where I've seen the National Guard come in before. After Katrina hit, and I know I keep going back to that, but it was along the same kind of unknowns that personally I see happening right now. After Katrina hit, they brought the National Guard and the Marine Corps and the Army in to set up. And at first, it was to set up a location where you could go and get necessities. Again, not Corona. I just smoked too many cigarettes. Anyway, they brought the military in, and the military came in and they set up these food banks. And you drove in, and the first place you went to, you got blankets. The second place is water. The third place is MREs. And then you went through and they did a head count and check and made sure that everybody had medication that they needed. Because at that point the pharmacies were shut down. It was hit and miss if you could get into a hospital if you needed it. But we didn't have grocery stores. We didn't have Home Depots. We didn't have pipe fitters and carpenters, and we didn't have all the shit that you see on Facebook where people are like, well, I'm still working while you're sitting at home, blah, blah, blah. We didn't have any of that. Nobody was working then. So the military came in, and the first week that they were there for help, And then after they implemented a curfew and a shelter-in-place order, which is exactly what people around the United States are looking at now, they transformed roles. The main branches of your military took over the food bank. The Marine Corps and the Army and the Navy corpsmen all took over that location at Target. That was the food bank situation where you drove in and got all your supplies. The National Guard transferred into a policing force. And basically what they did was they just set up on every street corner or every other street corner. You couldn't travel outside without seeing them. I mean, it wasn't like a situation where it was like, oh, you're only going to see them down here at so-and-so's place. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. We saw them on every street corner pretty much. I mean, there was a couple places where there was just a guardsman, But just about every other place that you went to, there was either a Humvee or there was an MP Jeep or there was something that was there where there were multiples of them. It didn't mean that they were out shoving you around with their rifle butts and had gas masks on. They're civilians. They're just like us. They come from our community. You know, they're not from goddamn Washington State or Montana, or they're not. It's not that. They are helping where they can be fit at, and more than likely they're going to help with law enforcement. You know, they're going to help make sure that people heed the governor's warning of staying in place, and that is a beautiful thing. Because the last thing I would rather have somebody that just tells me to go home rather than somebody that pulls you out of a gun at pistol point and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because I saw that too. That kind of stuff happened all the time. But at the same time, if people just listen to what this guy's saying and stay inside, you know, if you're worried about the fact that, I've got to provide for my family, it's understandable. I get it. Everybody gets that. Your voice matters, but it doesn't mean that you should be a problem and not a solution. Join everybody else that's in the middle of this nightmare and understand that everybody's staring down the barrel of the same gun. You know, just to some people it seems like it's more important. You know, you got Washington D.C. where they're having these cherry blossom festivals and crap that they had to cancel, and they did a big news report on it last night, and the lady's going, you know, yeah, they're starting to talk about shutting down some of the national parks and doing virtual tours. And while this chick is talking, in the background, there's a crowd of like 40 people walking around. There's people running, people out with their dogs. And that gives you the interpretation that people aren't taking this thing seriously. You know, and what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have a cluster of people here that take it seriously, like I do. And then you're going to have a group of people over here that don't take it so seriously. And when this group of people have to go to the grocery store to resupply on whatever, or they need to go get gas, or they have to go pick up prescription medication, and they bump into Joe Jackass here who won't think that it's okay to be out running in yoga pants and walking their Labradors and talking on their iPhones with a group of 6 other people, that's where your conflict's going to happen. Because this person here is going to be like, I don't want to be anywhere around you people that don't give a shit about this. And this person here is going to be like, I can't believe you're being like this. And the next thing you know, you're going to have those people that get beat up, and you're going to have those people that get shot and robbed. And that's how that kind of shit happens. And it's unfortunate to think about it like that, but that is the way it happens. You know, everybody needs to understand that if you have to stay inside for 48 hours or even 72 hours, be around your family. It's that easy. Surround yourself with things that you usually take advantage of. Learn how to cook. Learn how to self-rely on the things that you have around you. You know, pick up a new hobby. Bring up an old hobby. Spend time with your family, with your kids that hardly ever get to see you. If you're a single parent and you work a ton, rediscover that. Because in essence, that's going to be what stops the rise of infection. We haven't even seen it yet because there's still tests out there that they're still testing. Not new tests, but tests when they swab the inside of your mouth and up in your nose and they give it to somebody. That shit gets put in a little bitty box, and then it gets put with other little bitty boxes. And they're just now starting to get to those because they haven't had the ability to test them, to run them. So that's why you're seeing the gigantic spike in infection cases, is because now they're finally starting to figure out how to get them tested. Be safe. And listen to what they're telling you. Don't be a Johnny Jackass. Be somebody that wants to not throw up every 5 minutes and cough until your ribs hurt and have so much ache and body pain that all you want to do is sleep. It's not worth it. It's here and it's real. March 22nd, 2020. We had 274 confirmed cases and 3 deaths in Ohio. Be safe.